What's going on, Utes and Youngins? It's the Tommy Robinson of ESL Teaching.
As Brits, the only people fighting for our free speech right now are in the United States of America. It's Donald Trump, it's JD Vance, it's Elon Musk.
I am here with my client, and he is from the UK. He is actually from Scotland, and he just moved to Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. He just started working with us. So I want to get his story. I want to get his background. I want to get why he left Keir Starmer's communist utopia to go to communist Vietnam. But before we do, I want to remind you that this video is brought to you by Safety Wing. What's up, guys? I'm in Mysore, India. I'm chilling with this cow here. If this cow were to give me mad cow disease, I would want to have health insurance. And if you're going to live as an expat, you're going to want to have health insurance too. He's either biting me or licking me. He's licking me. Aw, hello.
It's so cute.
See, if I get sick from touching this cow, I want to have health insurance, right? So Safety Wing is a good health insurance for people like me who travel around the world and live in interesting places. I'm covered. If I get sick in India, at least I got health insurance. Safety Wing is designed for people who move around and who travel, so it's the perfect health insurance for people who live our kind of lifestyle. Calum, where are you from?
I'm from Scotland in the UK, in the United Kingdom.
Where in Scotland, brother?
Well, Glasgow is where I lived, but I've lived all over. I've been sort of, I was born in London. My mum and dad, so I was born in London. I lived in London till I was about 10. Then I moved to Scotland with my mother and moved to the countryside. Then moved to Glasgow, the big city. And then I lived in Dundee. Yeah, all over, but I would say I'm from Glasgow. That's my hometown. So that's where home is. That's where I've got an emotional attachment. That's where I sort of find out where home is just if you've got an emotional attachment to somewhere, your mother's there or whatever, that's where it is. So Glasgow, I'm from Glasgow in Scotland, United Kingdom.
And what inspired you to get out of there, brother?
Well, I left school at 15 and went work building sites for years, but my passion is art, so I've always drawn it. It's like brushing my teeth, It's like I don't even. It's just inside me, like. And so then, when I was 27 years old, I decided to go to art school. So I built up my portfolio, got into 4 really good art schools. I got into Glasgow School of Art. I got into Chelsea. I got into good art schools, and then I went to art school for about 4 years, and then I got my undergraduate. But then going into art school though, I was naive. I had no idea about left wing stuff and like crazy ideologies. I had no idea what it was, any of this stuff. Like woke and stuff like that. And I try to not be judgmental. I'm like each to their own. But yeah, it was scary. So once I was sort of introduced to this sort of system of ideologies and far left stuff, and like uh, like men saying that they're women and stuff like that. I mean, I was like, what the fuck, like that. I was 27 year old, and then I graduated though. I graduated, and then I went and worked in museums. I worked in print studios. I was in the art industry. I was working in the industry of art, and then I realised that the whole industry is flooded with just your political views come first, and then the art sort of comes second, and that wasn't for me. That wasn't like for my that wasn't my code, and then ended up getting really frustrated. I was like, and that's just common now in the UK. Is that like say the working man, the normal working man? Yeah, a lot of people are struggling over there, like, and costs are going up, prices for food, prices for gas, everything's going up, and actually people aren't getting, but people's wages, people's pay isn't going up. So I just was, I didn't even think about it. I was like, I need to go east. I need to go somewhere completely inverted to the west. And then, so that was last December. I flew out to Vietnam, one-way ticket. People also asked me why Vietnam. I had no idea. I just roll with my intuition. I was just like, right, Vietnam. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's got beaches. It's got big ass caves. It's cheap. It's So I came out here, traveled. I'm settled in Vietnam now. I know that I'll be living here. But I came out traveling, last year, and then when I went back home, I was like, I don't know if I was trying to remind myself, it was like a reminder of why I left, So I went back, yeah, and then I goes, you know what, and that's when I sort of seen you. You'd already added me on Facebook, and I was like, and then I looked into your business, of what you provide, your services, and then, yeah. I want to be here, so I want to live here, so I've got to work here, and yeah, I never thought I'd be an English teacher ever. Like, that was the last thing I ever thought I'd be, but that was amazing. I was jet lagged out my nut on Monday. Like, I was just, I emailed you. I also seen what you were writing. You're what you're saying resonates with me. Like, there's we're on the same team in some sort of sense. And then started working, and it's just starting again. It's just a whole new chapter for me, and but also, it's pretty good, like, because when I came out and before I went back home, I've got a girl here, like, her name's called Chin. She lives in District 7, but yeah, so I've got Bangai in it. You call the girlfriend Bangai, so I've got the Bangai here. She's she works at a bar, right enough, like, but it's cool. So there's things here for me to just, I've got a girlfriend, I've got a nice apartment in the District 4. I'm able to do, and it's kind of like my studio as well. So I still do art. Like, again, it's like, excuse my language, but for me, it's just like brushing my teeth or taking a shit. So it's like, so this is kind of like my studio as well.
So when you were in school, were you experiencing a lot of ideology from the professors, or was it mostly just from the students, or was it all around?
It was all around. Like, there were certain, like, professors that didn't agree with it. The professors who didn't care about it, they wouldn't speak up though. They were like, zip. And there was a lot. I mean, the students, yeah. I mean, but I noticed about that a lot of students that came in from school, so they went from high school straight to university art school. They were really caught up in it. They were like, wow. But the mature students like myself, so there was like four of us, and we were all guys as well. We were all like guys. We were all like so. There was me. There was Eric's, my Russian friend. There was Calum, another guy called Calum, and Graham. And we were just like, and also like, like, one guy was autistic. One guy had psychosis. Like, one guy literally sees angels, and like, and stuff. And Eric's is Russian. Like, we've got a Russian guy there, and me, and like, I'm a bit eccentric. I'm an extrovert, so it was a good team. We had to come together to survive. You understand? We had to make a fist to survive it. Like, but it got worse. Once I went into university, and like, so when did I go? I got into uni about 2018, right? So I went in 2018, and it just started really kicking off. This like woke. It was really kicking off, and it affected a lot of people's work. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people who tried to, when you put an ideology, or like, this political view, it gets in the way of creativity. It really does. It's a wall. So And me and the other four guys, me and the other three guys, we done well. I mean, our work, well, you get marked for your work, and our work was, we were successful, like, and we got awards and stuff and exhibitions. But yeah, it was. That's like if you want to see like the woke political, like going at like David Attenborough, like natural world shit. You go into an art school in the West, an art campus university, and people are just like, you're like, what?
So I noticed over the years, like, because I was living in the United States, it's been over 10 years now, but I was living in West Coast cities at one point, and I just
Yeah,
remember that the arts had declined a lot because you had this kind of conformist culture where everybody had like a hive mind, and you'd go to places like Seattle and everybody would think that they're in a band, but they would all dress the same, they would all act the
yeah,
same, and they all had the
yeah,
same like lockstep political ideology. Have you seen this affect
yeah.
like life outside of the university in the UK? Like, has it led to like decline in society, like in a way that's like affected you?
Yeah, people are scared. People are scared to. It's about, it's so easy, and this is what I got from being in university, is that they label you, and like through social media and stuff like that, they can they won't. It's like I come from a sort of like me growing up, and like our sort of like code is like, if you've got a problem with somebody, you don't, you sort it out face to face. It's just, it's like you don't. But people, something that I've seen that's different now is people go after your reputation. They smear you, racist, sexist, all that. And yeah, even in certain workplaces. So when I went to work in like the art industry, like say outside university, museums, print studios for making printmaking, all these institutions that are sort of like outside of the education system, they were all they were all, you could feel it in the air, and it's not healthy. It's not healthy at all. And then that's when, and then I went back to building sites. Like literally, I was like, and it was a breath of fresh air, because you can have an honest conversation. It's like, and those conversations, are not, they're not like people aren't, but people with different opinions should be able to have like it should be good conversations. You shouldn't hate somebody for having a different opinion, should you? It's like, it's like, you got discourse is important. Otherwise, it ends up becoming the way it is now in the UK. Like there's just a massive divide.
I think that it's actually not so much of the population that believes this garbage. I think it's elevated by certain interests that they want this kind of message to be out to the public. They want it in the universities because I think it's a really easy way to kind of control people and to silence people who may be a threat to power structures. And I think that when you look
Yeah,
at what's going on now in the UK, where the population now is having a backlash to this, they can call you racist all they want, but I've seen the protests in the UK and it's multiracial. There's lots of people who consider themselves to be proud and to be proud of being British that are not white. And it's kind of the
yeah,
same with me. I get called racist, I get called all kinds of things, but I grew up in New York City in the 90s. So I grew up with Black and Puerto Rican people. I've seen the good sides of their culture, I've seen the bad sides of their culture. And the people who
yeah,
tend to call me racist are often from little lily white suburbs in middle America that went to university in places like San Francisco or Seattle where they got indoctrinated. And they don't really
yeah.
know anything about living with people who are not white. So for them, I think it's a lot of virtue signaling. And I don't blame you for wanting to get out of that environment. It sounds really, really toxic. Now that you're in Vietnam, how do you find teaching?
It's great. I mean, like, it's my first ever. It's my first ever week. So first week, it's good. I think like I've got the right energy for it. I'm quite. You've got to be quite, because I was speaking to a guy who's a retired teacher though. He said, look, he goes, it's about personality first. He goes, all this stuff, that the way that Vietnam learn English, like past continuous and all this stuff, the really, the guts of it, because I didn't learn English like that. Like we take it as a sort of, because it's already there. But he said to me, he goes, because I'm talking to him at the bar, and whoa, 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 I'm all excited, and then yeah, yeah, and then he's like, And then I was quite nervous, I was nervous about like, oh shit, like I'm English teaching, whoa, like, like I'm, there was a wee bit of nerves. But this guy goes calm. He's like settle. He goes, all this stuff, right, can be learned. You can learn this. You need to have the right personality for this job, though. He says you need to have energy. You need to be, you need to have that. You understand? You need to be like eccentric. You need to be a wee bit animated. Especially with like the younger kids and stuff like that. But first week, man, I like it. Like I really do. It's it's like you get enough time to spend. Like if you're doing a couple of 2 hours in the morning, and then you're not working again to 2:30 in the afternoon or something. You could go at the gym, or like I'll go at the gym or something, or I'll go and work on my art. Stuff like that. I mean, I like it. I like the balance. There's a good balance already that I can feel, and with the women that you hooked me up with, I like that feeling of her. Just like when you get sort of instinct feeling with somebody, and then no bullshit with her, no bullshit. She's just like, look, don't make me look bad. And also, I'm not going to refuse. If she says, "Can you do this? Can you do this? Do this?" I'll just be like, "Yeah, yeah, give me it, give me it." So, yeah, I like it. I like it, and I'm excited I like it enough to actually because I want to transcend. I want to get better. And there's a sort of fear that you get sometimes. That's a good fear. When you're like, yeah, like, and I was missing that for a while. This sort of thing where it's not about me. It's about something else. It's about something else, and I was like, oh, there's that feeling again. That was missing in the UK. It's like, oh yeah, because I wanted to become a teacher in the UK. I wanted to become an art teacher, and literally, that's what affects, like, all that bullshit, that left wing bullshit in the UK. That affects. That's everywhere. That's in kindergarten, primary schools, all that shit. You understand? Like, it's crazy, isn't it? That even in America, you get all these like it's no right. They're teaching them about sex and shit when they're like 6 year old and that. It's mental. And and that's in the UK. So when I was sending out emails and my resume, I'm passionate. Art's teaching's my passion as well, though. And yeah, not back, not back, not back. You don't fit. You don't fit our. You you don't tick the boxes, like that. Even though I know I could be a good teacher, especially in art, that's my passion. If you're passionate about something, you that you'll be a good teacher at it. I really think so. Like, yeah.
So I think it's a regressive, backwards ideology that's destructive to the family, destructive to the culture, destructive to the society. And I think what it's doing in places like the UK is it's creating a brain drain where people like yourself who could be a great teacher, who could give kids like a very nuanced perspective about life, teach them art without teaching them propaganda, is now leaving the
Yeah,
country to pursue opportunities in Vietnam. And I think it's funny because people very often will try to criticize me and say, oh, you don't like communism, but you lived in Vietnam. Vietnam is a market economy. It's opened up to
yeah,
Western capitalism years ago.
yeah,
It is one of the most capitalist places on earth. There's nothing you
yeah.
can't buy in Vietnam.
I love that about Vietnam as well because it's like I was thinking that, and then when I looked into it, they opened the market. When was it? They opened it in the 80s or something, didn't they? And like it is. This is like the land of opportunity. Like I literally came. My first. I arrived on Saturday night. I'm working Monday morning. Right. Starting at the bottom, but then I'm in. There's the door. Like straight away. And like in the UK, that's like that's that's not like I was trying for a long time to I was trying for a long time to get into the education system, become a teacher, but no, and yeah, it's this it's like say in the universities, like in the lectures and stuff, in the lectures as well, you know. I remember I got this tutor one time, right, and it's like she's like saying this to me. She was a feminist, right, and it's like each to their own, right? Each to their own. Yeah, yeah. Everyone's got their code, but she was like, believe, like, trust me. This is like, and I'm like, why? like, And I'm like, the whole point of university is to go in and sort of have a 50%, like why should I trust you? Why should I believe what you're telling me? You know, that's what opens up debate. That's what opens up a conversation. And it like, why should I believe you? You know, like everything that you say, maybe there's like 40% of me is like, but the other 60% is like, nah, and that opens the debate and helps you find out your own questions and what, yeah, and they didn't like that. They didn't like that, huh?
They don't like it when you challenge their cult. They don't like it when you challenge
Yeah.
their religion, because this is a religion. And the thing that's funny about it to me is that these people, like this woman will sit and say she's a feminist, but then she'll push for jihadis to be allowed into the
Yeah.
UK. And what do you think will happen to women when jihadis become the political majority in the UK? When you have extremist Muslims, what do you think will happen to normal gay people? You know, so this is why I
Oh,
find the whole
yeah.
ideology to be absolutely insane, regressive, destructive. It's not based in reality. These people are mentally
Yep.
ill, they're brainwashed, and they're a cancer to the West. They really are. They're a fucking disease. So as
Yeah.
far as teaching, have you experienced a lot of ideology in Vietnam, or they just leave you alone, let you do your thing?
What I love about Vietnam is their national pride. They fuck it. Their flags are everywhere. You know, in the UK right now, the government are tearing down UK flags. A lot of people are hanging their flags out in the street, and the government are going round now, taking them all down. And if you're caught hanging a United Kingdom flag, England are doing it, Scotland are doing it, but the government are like, but you can hang a Palestinian flag out, no problem. You know, yeah, and like a rainbow flag, like no problem. But when you hang out the national flag back in the UK, you get in trouble. They take it down, and that's fucking crazy, yeah. So Vietnam, I've not seen any of that shit. I've not seen any crazy left wing stuff. I know that it's out there. I know that there's communities and stuff like that, and like that's cool. Like everybody's got their like there's all these are everywhere. There's always communities everywhere. Even in fucking the Middle East, there's probably crazy woke communities underground. You know what I'm saying? But what I love about the Vietnam is just that their national pride. There's flags everywhere. They love their country. They are smart people as well. They're serious about education. Like I think that aye, like that's what sort of won me over as well. Is just their national pride and just like they're badasses. Like I was reading about like the history of them. Like the Mongols couldn't beat them. The Mongols tried to invade Vietnam 3 times and the Vietnamese fucked them. Like yeah, so it's like yeah. I don't see any of that bullshit here. I don't see it. But for the most important part is I don't see it in fucking in colleges and education because when I was before I came back, so I came to I got down to Ho Chi Minh. So when I came in December last year, I got down to Ho Chi Minh right in February. So I got down in the middle of February to Ho Chi Minh. So I went all the way. I went from north to south, and then I was like right. And then I went and got I went and got I done a TESOL course. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a TESOL course just to get the certificate, and because I already was planting the seeds to come back and live here. You understand? I knew that I wanted to come back.
I'll say this, like Vietnam is obviously an authoritarian country, and they do
Yeah,
brainwash their people in their own way. But one thing that's
mm,
very unique about Vietnam is it is a monoculture. They don't really have this open borders multiculturalism idea. So they believe
yeah,
very strongly in preservation of culture, and they believe very
yeah,
strongly in
yeah,
family. And I think
yeah,
that's something that we could learn a lot from in the West. I think that's something that we've really lost sight of. We've been told that it's racist to be proud of our culture. We've been told that it's racist to be proud of our heritage or the accomplishments of our culture. And we've allowed these disgusting people to rewrite our history in a way that is not accurate and then teach it to the children of our countries and brainwash them to
yeah,
hate our society and to hate our culture. Whereas
yeah,
in Vietnam, they don't tolerate that. And I'll say one other thing about the far left is they're not doing a service to minorities. Like if you look at what's happened since the woke thing and since all the gender ideology has flooded into the narrative, the public
yeah,
opinion on gay people and racial issues have gotten worse. it has not helped
Yeah.
the situation. If you're a
No.
regular gay person, you were far better off before all these alphabet people showed up. And race relations
Yeah.
were definitely improving in the West before all the Black Lives Matter and before all this divisive insanity. And again, it's not even an accurate history because the West is the only place in the world that actually not just ended slavery, but enforced it on the open seas. The British Empire
Yeah.
was responsible for stopping the African slave trade, for trying to stop the
Yeah.
Arab slave trade, for policing the
Hmm.
oceans. So there's this beautiful history that's just not being taught, where it would be a history that would actually
Yeah.
unite us more. And instead, they're just pushing this divisive woke ideology that really serves nobody but a handful of corporations that love this kind of thing. And I think it's only done damage to race relations. And I think it's set gay people back
Yeah.
20 years. That's just my honest opinion because, I don't have a problem with gay people. I don't have a problem with a multi ethnic society. But I don't believe that you can have a multicultural society. After living in Southeast Asia for so many years, these people, they're very smart. They are very
Yeah.
proud of their culture. They'll let you into the country, but they're not going to let you change their culture.
Yeah, that's another reason why I like Vietnam as well. I'm a guest here, right? And it's like, right, how do I stay here? How do I contribute to it, right? English teaching is the place to start. This is just, place to start, but I'm not coming, like, and this is, that was important to me, was to make sure I'm providing, I'm giving something back to them, you know. And that's just me showing respect. I mean, I even started learning the language a wee bit, like ten la zi, like toila ten la zi or whatever, and it's like gap lai sao. I think I meant like that means see you later, but it's like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
it was I think the first thing I learned was like makai nu, which means one more, like one more beer, like makai nu, and then. But and
Well,
like
yeah.
And Chin, my girlfriend, she's got good English, she's shit hot English, like, and that's another thing, they're fucking smart, man. She's so good at English, like her English is good, and she's teaching me Vietnamese a wee bit, like, and yeah, that's it. Because in the UK, there's people just breaking in every day, every day, every day, and they're getting and a lot of them are from North Africa, the Middle East, a lot of them are from countries that there's no war, and they're all the same age. They're all young fighting men. And you talk about, like you were saying before, about the women and about how the safety of women, because from these cultures, it's happening. It happened right in front of my eyes, man. Because I lived in a scheme, quite a rough neighbourhood in Glasgow. I lived in a place called Yoker, and this was I had to go about with an adjustable police baton. Like I did it because I had a knife pulled out of me a couple of times. There was junkies coming into my apartment close, where the stairs are. They're jagging up. And then one day one of them, Anyway, it was a rough neighbourhood, but all these guys that are coming in on boats, they're all getting put in. So there were 6 Afghanis above me, right? And one day there was a there's young girls that walk about. There's young girls, 16, 17-year old, but they're girls, right? And like girls, right? They're not women yet, right? And it's like they're anyway, but they're coming into their they're coming into their own. They're growing up. They're teenagers, right? But I remember one day there was this one girl who's quite flirty. She would flirt with me in the shop, and one day I had to tell her, I was like, look, stop, stop, stop. Look, I was like 30 at the time. I'm like, I'm 30-year old. Stop it, like that. And then one day I see her, and 3 of these guys have got her surrounded, and lucky I was it was about 8:30 at night. Lucky I was there, because she was like, I seen her, and I was like, are you okay? And she was like, no. And I walked over, and I was just like, right, walked her home. But like you, you can't walk about, especially in London and Glasgow. You couldn't walk about at nights. If you were a woman, you couldn't walk about alone. It's really dangerous. Like sexual assaults on the rise. All these things are on the rise, and you can see you see the data of when it's this influx. Open borders, yeah. This bullshit, and at the same time, it's our culture. It's our culture that's disappearing. It's like it's a shame.
And they're backwards cultures. They're
Yeah, yeah,
savages. They have no
Yeah.
respect for your society. They're not interested in your society. They just want your money.
They don't want to integrate.
They're happy to assault non-Muslim women because they don't consider them to be human beings, and they have no place in Western
Hmm.
society. Now, you don't see
Nah.
that in Vietnam because the Vietnamese are much smarter. Now, I'm not saying Vietnam's a perfect society. The people are very smart because life is very hard there. But at the same
Yeah.
time, they're smart enough, even their government is smart enough to recognize that you can't allow a lot of these people in. And that's why it's very difficult for people from the African countries or the Middle East to even get visas to Vietnam. Meanwhile, places like the UK have their border wide open, allowing in
Yeah.
anyone from any degenerate backwards country. The
Yeah.
Vietnamese are smarter than we are in the West.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. Because they know it's about preservation. Like they've got a fucking awesome. Their history is awesome. They've been fighting for 2,000 years constantly. Like they are tough people. That preservation of culture, it's important. And but in the UK, it's getting rubbed out. We're being replaced, and people are having left. And the thing that you're talking about, like family values and stuff like that, family, kids, educate, all these stones, all these foundations that actually made the West a great place. And now it's been it's been corrupted, and like the families disappearing, people are having less children. It's like it's not good. It's not good. But you see that in some sort of like you see that in sort of countries like say in the Southeast Asia, well, like say not Southeast like mainly, but I'd say like in South Korea and Japan, they're suffering a bit of the because they are sort of westernized. They're experiencing the same problems as well a wee bit. In Glasgow, especially Glasgow, there's a massive Sikh community. Like Indians, Sikhs, and they're very, very integrated. They like it's and I hate to sort of like label it, but because it's just the truth. It's not even subjective. It's objective. It's not like a subjective response. It's actually it's Islam that's really causing all the problems. It really is. And because there's never any problems with like the Sikh community, the Jewish community. These are big communities in the UK. There's a big Jewish community in London, especially. There's a big one in Glasgow. There's you know, it's like there's all sorts of ethnic of ethnic backgrounds that have been there for years, and we're able to integrate. We all live happily amongst each other, except the Muslims. The Muslims, and not all of them, obviously. Not all of them. I'm not counting everybody, but you can see it in the data of just of the crime statistics. It's all coming from these people's, but from these backgrounds, with Muslim and Islam religions. So
It's also about culture because a lot of the
yeah, yeah,
countries you're
yeah.
getting people from are places like Pakistan, where there's incredible amounts of inbreeding and women are treated like
Grapes.
garbage, like property.
Yeah, there's graping. I'm just gonna say graping, but like yeah, there was a big story in the UK of the Pakistani grape gangs. Don't know if you heard about that. That's what Tommy Robinson got famous for. His sister was
Yes, of
one of the
course.
victim. Well, what his sister or I think it was his cousin actually. His cousin was a
Cousin,
victim,
cousin.
and then that just set him on a warpath. He was just like because these people were being protected by the police. Because of this fear of being called racist. It's fucking crazy, man. It's fucking crazy.
You know what's really insane is that if you look at the Western countries, there is no place on earth that's more tolerant of different ethnicities. Like if you go to places like the United States, they call us racist all the time. We have so much diversity of people who
I know.
assimilated to our country and did well. Whereas if you go
Yeah,
to Southeast Asia, there's zero diversity in a lot of these countries. Yeah, there's tribal people, but they don't get treated very well. So I don't
I know.
understand how this ideology can even make sense to anyone unless you have never been anywhere. If you've never left your country or never left a Western country, then I could see how you could be tricked by this. But if you've lived around the world, there is no place on earth more tolerant than the West. And there's no place better for gay people. There's no
Yeah,
place better for minorities. And this ideology,
yeah,
this way, this calling us racist, not only are you destroying the most tolerant societies on earth, but you're alienating people. You're turning people against immigrants coming in at all. You're turning people
Yeah,
against gay people because you're forcing the gender stuff. You're forcing the
yeah,
drag queen shit on kids. Nobody wants that. Nobody gives a fuck about gay people in places like the United States or UK. Nobody cares. And now you're
yeah,
making this something. You're forcing it onto people in a way that's alienating them and that's turning them against these people. So
yeah.
it's destructive, it's regressive, it's not helping the minorities that it claims to help. And I hope that it gets wiped from the face of the earth. I hope that this loss of Charlie Kirk helps wake people up to how disgusting and backwards this ideology
Oh,
is. But I want to ask you before we get too deep on the Charlie Kirk thing, because I know you're going to have some opinions on that. But I want to ask you a little bit. If you were going to give advice to a frustrated young guy in the UK who's in a very similar position to you, maybe they're being
yeah.
hated for being white, maybe they're losing opportunities, maybe they're living in a neighborhood that's becoming a Muslim disaster, what would you tell them? How would you advise a young person like yourself?
Right. You have to take a step back, because this is what I actually this is what I literally did. Right. So I was stuck in my mind. Like I was stuck here. I was working. I did everything that right. I'll go to art school. Right. I went and got my degree. That's important. If you are passionate about something, like say, and also there's free education. Take advantage of that in the UK. It won't be free for much longer. So for a young guy, so what I did, right? So first of all, I was like, right, I want to get a degree. So I went and got a degree. Then I was like, after that, I was like, so what do I do with this, right? So then, boom, 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 went out, like, you know, and how do I say it? I was trying to don't control everything. Don't try and don't, and also take take it seriously, but not too seriously. So I was taking it way too serious instead of just being intuitive. I'm mostly quite an intuitive guy. I'm quite instinctual. I roll, but then I sort of became constricted. So I was stuck. I didn't know what to do. I was like, like art wasn't making me happy anymore. Like that was usually my escape, and so that career was and so realizing that I wasn't going to get like a teaching career in the UK for a lot. That was I was gutted about that. Take a hit. And then my big brother, he's got like a cabin in the woods. So way out in the middle of nowhere, he's got like a cabin, like a cottage, for holidays and stuff like that. He Airbnbs it sometimes. But I went and stayed in that for like a month. I went into the woods, literally, and then went out and literally I went and got a job at a sawmill, and then I was I was cutting doing. I was like literally went back to like primitive living. It was crazy. I was like, I just had my phone, no internet. I went. I had to, and then also I don't know if I can say this on the channel, but you can cut out later if you want. But
Yeah, sure.
I've done in Scotland. There's a lot of mushrooms that grow up, like psilocybin. So I read this book called Food of the Gods. There's a guy called Terence McKenna. There's a book called Food of the Gods. It's very good. It's very interesting about how our brains evolved from eating meat and taking magic mushrooms, right? But anyway, so I was out in the woods and I was doing like I was doing mushrooms and literally it wasn't about partying or anything like that. I was trying to just find out what I needed, and then it said it was in the middle of this this time of my life, this we're being out in the woods, back to primitive living. I was taking, I was tripping, sometimes microdosing and stuff like that, and then it was like go east, there's go, I've no kids, I've no girlfriend at the moment, there was nothing stopping me. So then that's when I was like, right, it's time to go east. So yeah, so I just give advice about to come out here. You've got to be willing to work. That's the way you do it. You've just got to be brave. But yeah, there was you know, it's like I don't try and think too hard about things. So I just was like, in my revelry, it was like going out east, go east. You know, that was it. To go invert the situation, and so then, you know, I try not to think too hard about things. That kind of gets me in trouble sometimes, and that's how I ended up in a rut in Scotland. I was, and then I was like, go out east, you know, like go, just, you know, just like get out the bubble. And then, I fell in love with Vietnam though, like I really did. And then when I came down, and then when I got from north to south, I was like, right, how do I stay here? You know, because at the cost of living, you know, the people respect hard work out here as well. You know, they respect hard work. They like that. And so I would just be like, if you're unhappy in the West, if you're unhappy in your situation and you've no got like anything tying you down, you know, like family, kids, whatever that, because if you've got kids, they're number one. That's it. You've got like there's no questions asked there, in my opinion and my belief. Like, but then if you want, this is the land of opportunity. I would say now there's more opportunity out here than there is. Vietnam's going up, whereas the West is going down. You know.
All right. So did you find the service helpful? Did you find working with us to be helpful?
Yeah, man. Of course. It's not. It's like. It's yeah, and it's like, you know, I'm not fucking up. Like I don't like to fuck about, if you know what I'm saying. I'm not going to be like with all these interviews. I know where I stand. I know where I'm at on my level. You know what I'm saying. I'm not going to bullshit anybody. This is my first English teaching job, and the fact is, your contacts are all there. You know, you've given. You know, I'm part of your community. All the information that I need, maybe if I want to move somewhere else, you provide that. That's all there. You know, like that's the service that, and obviously, you know, like it's a service. You know, that's the way of the world. Like you've got, if you're giving me your contacts, you're setting me up. I mean, like, you know, and I was like this seems to happen a lot with me. It's like, you know, instinctively, you know, I was like, spoke to her, communicate, you know, no bullshit. I was like, yeah. And then from your opinion, from your advice, you were like, she's a great person to start out with. And then I was talking to another couple of people who said, yeah, she pays on time. You know, she'll give you, you know, if you, it's like, you know, it's a quid pro quo or peace of mind. You know, like she's like. You know, and I trust your opinion on that. She's a good person to start out with. Yeah, that's where I'm at. You know, she's giving me she's not overloading me too much. She's not giving me too much, but she's giving me enough to go, right, okay, it's enough for me to get better. You know? Yeah, the service is good, mate. I mean, like, there was other services that I was looking at, but it was through Facebook that, and it's not just about what service you're providing. You know, we share the same, we're on the same wavelength, you know. We have the same views. We both, you know, like you go to you like martial arts and stuff like that. Like I used to box for years back in Scotland. You know, I used to do boxing, and I mean, I still do it. I still train boxing down at City Gym. That's like I used to do weights and stuff like that. But you know, I've got like there's it's not just about what your service is doing. You know, I genuinely think that you're a cool guy. I'm like, yeah.
Thanks,
It's a good feeling. I've got a good feeling about this guy, and I don't mind. I don't mind paying for a service. It's good. You know, I'm working. I'm fucking working, mate. You know, like I'm like first weekend and I'm working. You know, and when I was asking other people, I was asking other company, or like I was asking woman Mrs. Yim, this woman Mrs. Yim, right? So she's the woman that done my TESOL course, but she's kind of just like, oh, apply for anything, blah blah blah. Wasn't really any solid. She wasn't connecting me with anybody, you know. Whereas you connected me, you know, and like I took a big and you told me as well. You're like, you know, so you were like, you know, give them gifts and stuff like that. So I went and bought like a big basket of fruit, you know, like a big fucking basket of fruit and that. I was like, there you go. And she's like, yeah. She's like, you know, that's the way to do it. Because like on paper it says I'm an English teacher, right? But I'm not. I'm like give me 2 or 3 years doing this, right? And I'll be a teacher. You know what I'm saying? It's like I see it like serving my time, because it's like, you know, I went on building sites. I was a joiner, you know, carpentry, wood. Yeah, it took me and like I got my job on the building site through the court. I used to be crazy, man. Like, I talk like, and I was talking to these kids in school. So in one school, you know, in the class, I've noticed this just in the week. There's maybe like 3 or 4 in the class that are always sort of like, you know, they're causing havoc. They're not interested, right? You know what I'm saying? And they're just young guys, right? Just young boys, right? I was that kid. But there's also like majority of the class that I see, they want to learn. Like they take education seriously, like, and you know, I was describing what I was like. Me and my friends were like, right? And this kid's like that. Oh, you guys were like wolves. I was just like, yeah.
So, guys, I want to remind you that the subjects that we talk about are not politically correct, and Google is super, super woke. So sometimes they'll try to suppress our channel. So if you guys can hit the like button, share the videos, comment, it helps us a lot. If you guys are thinking about coming to Southeast Asia, Big Uncle does hourly consulting, hourly coaching, full relocation packages. If you're looking to retire or invest, we can help you, not just Vietnam, but in the entire region, and we're expanding as well. I want to thank Big Brother Calum for coming out and talking to us from Scotland and being so honest about his experiences. And I just want to ask you to leave us with some final thoughts about your journey and what you think would be helpful for someone else to know, and just whatever it is you want to give us. Give us one final thought.
Right, that's a good question, huh? That's to abstract it all. Keep your head up. Don't let anything bring you down. Stay positive. Stay positive. Stay on the path. Don't drift. Like if you want to come out here and live out in Vietnam, make sure you have a path set in front of you. You know, if you come out here and just like if you come out here and just start like you need to have a plan. I would definitely say have a plan. Make sure that you got people to, you know, make sure there's a community. Make sure there's people to, you know, like yourself. You know, that's what I would say. Like, have a plan. Have a plan set in front of you, and be ready to like adjust the plan. You know, be ready to adapt. You know, like mold, like clay. Like, be ready to adapt. You know, like don't like if the plans are going to change. It's like the classroom, isn't it? It's like when you're teaching in the classroom. It's like, way the lesson plan always changes, and that's like sort of coming out to Asia. You got to have a plan, and then see what happens. Roll with it, like, yeah, and yeah. And just like respect the culture, like learn the language a wee bit, you know, like just learn the language, like try like just, you know, this place is exciting, you know, it's exciting. Have a plan, but throw yourself in it as well, you know, like go right in it. Don't be scared, you know, because things will work out. Like, you know, things are good for me. Like, you know, I've got a nice apartment. And also, they're negotiators. Negotiate with them. They love the negotiation. I says to the woman that I rented this apartment off, I says, look, I'll give you 6 months pay up front if you take 2 million off a month. No problem. Like that. They're negotiators. Talk. You know, I've learned that. I've learned that from being here as well. They're great negotiators. You know, they're great at business. You know, as well. And yeah. I don't know what else to say. I've got a really bad hangover, to be honest with you. I had about 8 whiskey sours last night, like, you know. But yeah, it's good. It's good. I love it. I want to be. I know that I'll be here for a long time. You know, I know that I'm definitely here for the long run, for the long haul.
And guys, I want to remind you that even though I move around, even though I go to other markets and I unlock new relationships and new connections. We live in the digital age. So I could be chilling in Eastern Europe. I could be chilling in Latin America, and I could easily still put you into jobs in Vietnam. So have no hesitation to reach out to your big uncle. If you're living in the West and you're being abused and you're not getting anywhere in the society and you feel like your government is trying to replace you, you know, take your money, take your capital, come to Southeast Asia. You could really do something with your life. I want to thank Calum for coming out and talking to us. And I want to thank you guys for watching, taking time out of your day to take in the video. You know, we really appreciate you guys. I wish the absolute best for the people in the UK, and I hope that they can take their country back. I'm super proud of them today with the hundreds of thousands of people in the city in London. And, you know, I mean, nobody wants to be like a closed society. Nobody wants to be like Nazis. People just want to be respected. They want their culture to be respected. They want you to come into their country and assimilate. And I think, you know, living in developing countries can be a real eye opener. If you choose to have your eyes open, you'll learn a lot about the world and you'll see things about your own culture that are good that maybe you didn't see in the past. And hopefully that'll give you a new appreciation like it did about my culture. I was very on the left when I left America. I didn't really like my country. But after many years of living outside of it, I've really gotten a nuanced opinion and I've come around a lot. And now I'm very proud of my country and I'm very proud of my culture. We were the first country in the world to not have a king. So you guys should go out there. You should be who you are. You should be proud of who you are and you should represent yourself well, because remember, you are an ambassador for the countries you're living in. Thank you for watching. Subscribe and share.
Brush your face and wash your teeth, son.
Reborn Abroad got me a job in Vietnam.
Brush your teeth.
Reborn Abroad helped me retire in Vietnam.
Reborn Abroad got me a job in Vietnam.
Reborn Abroad got me a job in Vietnam.
Years later, we're still friends, so hit us up.
Reborn Abroad, they're legit. They got me a job. I'm pretty happy.
Reborn Abroad got me a job in Vietnam.
Reborn Abroad got me a job.
Brush your teeth.
Hey, what's up? I'm D from Canada. Hook up with the New York Nomad if you want a smooth ride into Vietnam or any Southeast Asian countries.
Hey, my name is Aaron. Get in contact with the New York Nomads. If you want to get into Vietnam, hit them up. They'll get you in securely and professionally.
Yo, this is Uncle Hollywood. I'm telling you right now, the New York Nomad got me a job. He's legit. Hit him up. Check him out.
New York Nomad set me up in Vietnam.
Yo, my man got me a job. Come to Vietnam.
Hey, what's up, guys? You thinking about coming to Vietnam? You're not sure where to start. You've heard a lot of things online. You don't know what's true. You don't know what's not. We offer a consulting service where we help you get on your feet in Vietnam. We give you advice on negotiating contracts with employers. We help you with real estate agents, visa agents that are reliable and that you can trust. We help you get started in this amazing country and get on your feet. We help you get into different opportunities that might be more difficult for you if you were just landing in the country on your own. And we help you avoid a lot of the pitfalls and problems that you could have as a newcomer here. We provide you with reliable job recruiters, visa agents, real estate agents, and advice. If you guys are thinking about coming to Vietnam, hit us up for a consultation. We'll help you get started, help you get on your feet, and hopefully you'll love Vietnam as much as we do.